Welcome back, everybody, to our next video in the series of the DVF V2000 wrap dress. So we are going to pick back up today working on sewing our sleeves together. We have sleeves, and then those sleeves also have cuffs. I have not decided if I wanted to keep the cuffs on the sleeves or not. I figured I would just go ahead and make the cuffs um, and then attach them, pin them, and see how they look on the sleeves, and then determine or not whether or not I'm going to keep um, those cuffs attached or not. So here's our pattern piece, piece number 10. As I said before in previous videos, I did shorten the sleeves, the length of the sleeves here, because I shortened the torso of the dress. So I figured I had to also shorten the sleeves a little bit as well. Not sure if that was necessarily the right decision at the time, but we will see how everything fits. So we're gonna move our pattern piece over here to the side. And so off camera, the pattern instructions called for an ease stitch along this edge here, from circle to circle, small circle to small circle. So I did that off camera. I did a really long stitch. I bumped my stitch up to the longest it would go on the sewing machine to do that stitch and run it across the front. So I did that on both pieces of our sleeve. All right, so the next step is to stitch the sleeve seam. So we're going to be, we'll fold our sleeve, and then we'll pin it together, and then we'll go to the machine and sew it together for both pieces of our sleeve. Okay, so let's grab my pins here. And let's see, we do have some pieces, some markings to line up on. We have our slits here and here, so we can line those up to try to make sure we get our sleeves even here. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Just trying to pull down a little bit to make sure everything is lined up there and smooth. Okay. Just trying to see how it looks here with our slippery fabric issue that we've been dealing with most of the time through the whole project here. All right, I think that's probably the best as it's going to get for now. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll pin our edges together here like so. And we're just going to pin all the way down. And then we'll take a look and make sure our fabric didn't slide as we were pinning, and just making sure that everything's still together and lined up properly. one down here at the end. Okay, that's our pin piece. Looks pretty good from this side as well. So we're gonna put that piece to the side, and then we're gonna grab our second sleeve and then do the same. That way we don't have to stop at the sewing machine. We can just go ahead and sew both pieces up together. And so I left these are the strings from that E stitch. So I left those because I'm assuming we'll have to either use those to pull together the end of that sleeve when we're fitting it onto the dress. So we'll leave those out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's get our pins. And put one here. And we're just going to keep going all the way down to the end. Okay. Check the other side to make sure our fabric looks pretty good. This piece is a little offline there. I'll repin that one. That last one. See if we can get it lined up here. Okay. All right, and so that's our second piece. Okay, so we're gonna stitch that up at 5/8 of an inch for our seam, and after that we'll move on to our cuff pieces, constructing those. So let's go ahead and switch over to the sewing machine. And we'll get our tails out of the way here. Okay, and let's see which way I want to put in our piece here. We'll put it in this way. So we can easily remove our pins from the right side there. All right, so we're going to put our fabric right at 5/8 there on our plate here. Put our foot down. I'm going to reset my machine since I still had it on that longer stitch. So now we're back at our regular stitch, which for me on my machine, my brother machine, it's 2.5. And just for reference, the sewing machine that I sew on is the Brother CS7000X is the model. It's been pretty good so far, and I think it was less than $200 when I got it, so I've had it about a little over 2 years, so no issues. So pretty good machine. All right, we're gonna go forward a couple stitches, and we're gonna go back a couple, go forward, remove our pin. Let me grab my pin cushion right quick. Here. I always forget to bring the pin cushion over. Okay, just gonna readjust the camera a little bit. Okay. Just gonna move that pin. Just gonna move my fabric a little bit here. Trying to make sure I sew a straight line. We want straight sleeves as best we can. Almost to the end here for our first sleeve. Okay, and then we're almost to the end again here. I'll slow down a little bit. Grab this guy. And we're gonna sew to the end and then do our back stitch. Alright, we're gonna go back a couple and then forward a couple. Okay, and let's remove our piece. Alright, we're gonna put this one over to the side and let me grab our other one. Okay, let's move our tails out of the way here. And get our piece positioned in our machine and make sure we're at our 5/8 seam allowance marking here before we put our foot down. See, that's pretty good there. And we'll remove that first pin. Okay, and let's get going. We'll do a couple stitches forward, a couple stitches backwards, and forward again. Starting off kind of slow. Make sure we get a good straight line and making sure that we're removing our pins before we get to that needle. Don't want to try not to sew over the pins. I've seen people sew over them. I've sewn over them most of the time by accident, but I don't necessarily think it's good for the machine. But I am not, certainly not an expert. It's probably a lot easier to sew over the all metal pins with the flat heads on them. So if you need to, I would recommend not using these types with the plastic tops on them. Luckily, I have not broken a needle yet, so hopefully I just didn't jinx myself. But usually try to be very careful with the machine. I'm not aware of any sewing machine repair shops around my area, so I must be very careful. Okay, and then we're at the end here. It's our last pin. Move that out. Just try to keep that last piece flat there while we do our forward and our backward stitch. Okay. And snip our piece off here. And so let's go back to our work table. And check out our stitches, and we'll clean up those seams, trim them a little bit. I think press them open. So here we have our two sleeves sewn together. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and trim our seams a little bit, and then get those pressed open as well. So let me just get, I'll use my pinking shears as well. So we can finish off the seams. I did have to go back on the dress and finish a couple seams with my pinking shears. So try to remember to do it this time. Do it now. Okay. So I think I'm gonna trim first and then press open. So let's trim a little bit here. Oh, let me go ahead and get my iron ready here. And that can be heating up. Wow. While we finish cutting here, I'm definitely not making it pretty, just making it happen. Okay. Get our scraps out the way there. Looks pretty good. And then we'll do our other, let's grab our other sleeve here. And we'll trim. And just trying to be careful not to trim into that, to our seam. And we're just gonna cut here. All right. Okay. All right, so let's get ready to press that seam open. I'm gonna move my ironing board down here. Everything's been working pretty well with my new tabletop ironing board, except I have to remember to be careful that the holder over here where the iron is, that's metal and that is hot. So I accidentally touched it the other day, which was not fun. So I just gotta be careful of that and be mindful when I'm using it to not bump into that piece there. All right, so let's try to get our seams open here. Press those open. Yeah, I think if my sleeves end up being too short, then I won't do the cuffs, maybe, because I don't want the cuffs to look weird. All right, so we just get a little tiny little seam now, just kind of pressing that open. Okay, and just kind of pull the seam open as we go along here. It may have been easier to press and then do my pinking because it's a little bit harder with a smaller seam, but we got it done. Looks all right. Okay. So we'll put this piece to the side. And let's grab our other piece. Press the seams open on that one as well. Just gonna move our strings out of the way here. And okay, we'll get, just use our fingers here to kind of pry open that first little bit there. Put a little steam behind it. Okay. Just kind of using the tip of the iron to kind of pry open the seam there. And we'll just keep on slowly edging our way down here. It's like it doesn't want to open here. The last couple of inches here, but that's all right. Got it. Looks good. Okay. All right. So that one is now pressed open and done. Okay. Let's see what we got next. So now we're gonna start working on applying the interfacing to our cuff. And so I'm gonna put, just checking my iron. I think I need a little bit more steam. So I'm gonna take a quick break, refill my iron, and also dampen my pressing cloth. And then we'll be back here at the board to finish up with, to start with our cuffs. Okay, so we have our iron refilled, our pressing cloth dampened, and so now we are going to start working on the cuffs. So this is piece 11, and so there are 4 pieces of fabric and then 2 pieces of interfacing. So I have everything clipped together right now. So I'm just gonna unclip our pieces here. Okay, and I'm gonna remove our pattern piece. But before we do, it looks like we at least have one slit here and a square and a circle, another circle, square here. Not sure what those particular markings are for just yet, so just making note of them. And so here are 2 pieces of interface. And so the idea is for that interface to go in between. Oops, I left a clip here. The idea is to have those go in between our 2 pieces of fabric. Okay. So our interfacing is going to go on the wrong side. So I'm just going to remove one piece here. And then we'll take one here, put those to the side. So now we just have our 2 pieces here. All right. And so it says it wants it to be on the wrong side. So let's see. I might need to grab the other piece because our notch is here, and then on the picture the notch is further down on this end here. So I just want to make sure I'm using the right pieces. So wrong side. So let's check the other piece. Yeah, that one actually has the notch in the right spot, so we will make sure that is correct. And let's make sure the notch is in the right spot. Just gonna swap those 2 pieces out, no problem. it's the minor details, I think, that can get you caught up sometimes. Okay. I think I'm actually gonna, this piece, I had to use some scrap pieces to recut the cuffs. So this one actually has a fold on it. So I'm just gonna press that out really quickly because it shouldn't have a fold. Just take a second to just press that out really quick. Okay. Just gonna move that back. Move our cord out of the way here. Okay, so we got that one pressed. Looks a lot better. Okay, so it's gonna be interfacing. So our bumpy side, or our rough side, is gonna go down. Rough side goes down to the wrong side, and there should be a notch on my interfacing somewhere. Not seeing it. Maybe I forgot to cut it, but that's all right. We see the notch on the piece itself right here. Okay, gonna pin that down, and then pin this one. Let's see, rough side is down to the wrong side here. Okay, so let's grab our pins. We'll use our all metal pins here. Oops, it's folded. And we'll just throw a couple in. Just to secure it down. Throw a couple in here at the top. And a couple at the bottom. Should be enough to get us steam basted. And set. Alright, so let's do our second piece. Let's try to line up our pattern piece with our interface. It's a little, this one's a little big. Might need to trim a little bit off of the sides, but we'll do that after we are interfaced. We can definitely clean that up after. Okay. So we got 3 at the top, and we'll try to put maybe 2 or 3 down here at the bottom. Okay, looks pretty good pretty smooth. All right, so I'll put that piece to the side. Okay, let's get her ironing board moved down. Then let's grab our pressing cloth. Just checking the dampness on it. It's a little damp in some places it's still very dry. So just kind of bunching it up a little bit. Spread some of that dampness. Okay, got our pressing cloth down. Okay, I think our iron is good. We're gonna steam base first, and then we'll do our pressing count hold after. So this is just to get the edges and stuff done there. Okay. And then we'll remove the pins. Looks like we're stuck down enough to remove those pins. And then we'll do the final press. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that should be good enough for us. Check our piece here. Looks pretty solid, nice and flat and smooth. All right, looks good. And I think we'll trim a little bit, maybe trim a little bit of that interface off while I'm looking at it. Okay, trim a little bit here. Okay, so that piece is done. We'll put it to the side. Let's move on to our other piece. Get it steam basted first. Okay, cover it with our pressing cloth. And then we're just steam basting it first. Just get that initial stick down going. Okay, we're gonna remove the pins. Okay, looks like a good initial stick there. So we're gonna put our pressing cloth back over and then do our final presses here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I think we're good to go on that one as well. So let's check it and trim if we need it. All right, so we got our cuff done here, and then let's trim that excess interface off. Interfacing. Just a little bit here on the edge, not much, just cleaning it up a little bit. Nice and smooth, which is what we like to see. All right, so we'll put our pressing cloth to the side, move our piece off, and then turn our iron down. Push our thing out of the way there. Okay. All right. So we have our 2 pieces here. That are now interfaced. Just throw our scraps away. Try to keep a clean area. Okay, and so we got our interfacing done to our 2 cuff pieces, and so now it says to stitch the remaining cuff sections to the interface cuff section, leaving the notched edge open, and then we're going to trim the seam to 3/16. So the notched edge open, this is our notched edge here. Notched edge there, notched here, and so we're just going to apply that second piece over the top. So let's get our one, please. We'll pin it and we'll stitch it. Okay, let's see. Where's my notch? My notch is down here. So trying to remember how this should go. Oh, I remember. So you have to do right sides together. Because when you turn it, one side is going to have the interface on it. So I'm glad I actually remembered this time. Just good. Okay. Just trying to line everything up nicely. It's like the piece underneath's a little bit smaller, but that's all right. Let's get our, so this is going to be the open end, so we'll pin up here. Just gonna add pins all the way down here at the top. Trying to make sure everything is lined up good. And we'll throw a couple on the side as well because we have to stitch here on the sides. Just a couple. And then a couple for this side. I'm just gonna swing this around here. And then we'll check out how the pinning looks. See if we need to adjust, make any adjustments. Then we'll do our other piece. Okay, so let's take a look. Looks pretty good. As I said before, one piece is a little bit bigger than the other. So that's it. I think we're okay. There. Ouch. Poke myself. Okay, so let's pin our other piece. So we want right sides together. Okay, I think we're lined up pretty good. Let's throw some pins in it here. And I do have a thimble in my sewing box, but I just don't use it. It just feels so bulky. So I just take the risk of poking myself because it's a lot easier to not use it for me. But maybe one day I'll finally get tired of poking myself and start using it. But for today, we'll skip it. Okay. Let's check out the other side. Everything looks pretty good. Looks fairly lined up. This piece is also, one piece is a little bit bigger than the other, but that's okay. All right, so we got everything pinned, so we just gotta stitch. Leave this edge open, trim our seam allowances down, and then we turn. We're gonna turn it to the right side out and press it, and then baste the raw edges together, and then throw a top stitch on the finished edges. And that should be it for the cuff, and then we'll pin it to the sleeve. And then we also have another little piece 12, which is the sleeve facing that we'll need to work on too. So we'll get that together as well. So just looking at, I'm gonna take a quick look at that piece. I may go ahead and pin that now, so we can be finished. Let's see, because I don't even think it has interfacing. Sleeve piece 12 here, sleeve facing, cut 2. So it did not have any interfacing. So let's go ahead and pin that together too. So we can do it on the sewing machine. So basically, finish the upper edge of the sleeve facing, and then it says stitch the ends of the facing together, pin facing to sleeve over cuff, and then base. Okay, so it says first to finish this upper edges here before you stitch them together. So maybe we'll hold on that since I gotta get those ends finished before I stitch together. So we'll do it in order like the instructions say. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're gonna hop back over to our sewing machine. Bringing my pin cushion. Since I remembered to bring it this time. Okay. Alright. So we're back at the machine over here. Let's move my tails out the way. That's gonna reset my machine. I make it a habit to just reset it anytime I sit back down because I may or may not have adjusted the the stitch length or something like that on it, and it always kind of resets back at the normal point here. Okay, so I'm just checking to see we're stitching our normal 5/8, I think. And then our notched edge is open. Okay, so just gonna put my foot down about here. We'll do a couple forward, couple backwards, and keep going forward here. Pop out our pin there. Trying to sew straight. May have to slide this corner pin out a little bit. Okay, we're gonna move it down. Then we're gonna check and see if we're down far enough to do our pivot. Do a little bit more. Let's see where we are here. Oh, I think I went down a little bit too much, but I don't think I'm gonna try to. I may try to back up a little bit, but I think we're okay. I'm down to about a fourth, so we'll leave it. But I went down a little bit too far in order to maintain a 5/8, so that's all right. I think as long as it's straight, we should be okay. Being straight, gotta be straight though. move this guy here. I don't know why my fabric always kind of puckers up like that. It's very annoying. I don't know if it's the fabric just sliding. But it's definitely like bunching, everything's bunching up. And now I get little puckers that I have to end up sewing over, trying to keep everything else straight. Okay, let's make sure we don't go down too far on this one. I could go a couple more stitches. So let's go a couple, like 1 or 2. Now we can pivot. Okay. Okay. And then we do a couple back stitches here. A couple forward. And left. Okay, so we got that piece sewn. Let's see. I want to go ahead. Let's see. Turn, press. We'll trim after we sew both of them together. So let's go ahead and sew our other piece, and then we'll trim when we get back to the table, and turn and then press everything. Okay, let's try to get on our 5/8. 5/8, about there. Okay, a couple of forward, a couple backwards. Go forward again. Take our pin out. And let's just keep it going. Nice and straight. Take the pin out. Move this one out of the way a little bit. And let's stop here and see. Need to go maybe a couple more stitches down. Let's check it again. I think that's good. Put our foot down. Try to get our fabric out of the way here. I'm wondering if maybe because there's a slight curve to the piece, so maybe why we get that buckling. I'm not quite sure. If anybody knows a remedy, or tell me if I'm doing something wrong of why my fabric is buckling there, please leave it in the comments. I will read your comments. I do read your comments and try to answer. So Yeah, any help is appreciated. Like I said, I am very new to sewing. I've only been sewing about, I guess, almost 2 years. So it's still a lot to learn for sure. And I definitely do not know the answers to everything, that's for sure. So we will learn together. Yeah, see now I have this big fold here. And I'm just trying to, I guess, just try to ease my fabric through it. It works, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. I should maybe try to look online to see if it's a remedy. I wonder if it's something with my tension or with the way my machine is walking underneath. Not quite sure what's going on. Okay, let's see how far down we are. Can go maybe one stitch. And now pivot here. It's gonna move a little bit here. Okay, and then gonna go back a couple and forward a couple, and that finishes us off on that piece. Okay, let's move back to our table and see how things look for us. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna grab my scissors. Okay, so we got a little buckle there, but that'll have to stay. Got a little buckle there as well. Okay, so it says to trim seam to 3/16 of an inch. So let me just grab my ruler and see how far down we need to trim. I know one of these we don't have to trim that far down because we're at a 1/4 instead of 5/8. So let's see, 3/16. So it puts us about there. So about half of this seam you can kind of trim down. So we'll do that. And we'll eyeball it. And let's snip our threads first. Okay. And the other piece to the side there. All right, so let's just trim. Okay. I'll trim this guy. just doing just about half. Because that's definitely trimming this seam down is going to help us when we get ready to turn our piece to the right side. Just debulking this is going to help a lot. Hopefully will help us with our press too. Alright, so let's trim our other piece. Trim our threads first. And then we'll trim here, which is about half a seam again. Just trim. Okay, let's get our scraps moved out of here. And then let me grab my turning tool here. And then so I'm gonna turn it, press it, and then baste the raw edges together, and then top stitch the finish edges. Okay. So let's go ahead and turn. And we'll use our tool to help us. Gotta be very careful not to poke a hole. Our other end here. Okay. Okay, so that's turned. And so I just have to press everything down. So let's go ahead and turn our other piece, and then we'll press both pieces. Get our tool here to help get those corners out nice and pointy. Alright, so now we're gonna press. So let's move our ironing board back in place. Okay, wait, turn it on. Okay, and we'll just wait to here. That might be able to press our little wrinkle out here. Just waiting for the iron to chime in there. Okay. Just gonna flip it so I can press this end here. Gotta be careful not to burn myself. Okay, I think I'm gonna press on the other side. Just trying to make sure we get it good and flat. Okay, I think that looks good. Let's move on and do our second piece. I feel like a good press fixes a lot of things. Okay, just kind of going back over this section. And then we're gonna flip, press the other side. Okay, so it looks pretty good. Got a little bit of a bend, though not necessarily straight there, but it's not too bad. I think I'm gonna hit it one more time. Okay, so we got that piece done, and then it says to baste the raw edges together and then top stitch the finished edges. All right, so we'll do that. So that means we gotta go back to our sewing machine. So we'll grab our two cuff pieces. So we'll be basting here and here, and then doing a top stitch basically around that edge. And I think that top stitch is supposed to run at 1/4 of an inch, I believe. Let me just double check our instructions. Top stitching 1/4 of the outside of the seam. So, okay, so let's go back over to our sewing machine. And we'll do our baste. So that means we bump up our stitch length all the way up. And this is going to be really long stitches there. Just a really long straight stitch. Okay, so we'll baste these guys here. Yeah, I think this is a base. I'm gonna do inside the seam allowance. I think I'm gonna go maybe 1/4 inside. I'm just hoping this thing doesn't wrinkle up, because then we'll have a wrinkly cuff, which is not good. Got a little bit of a wrinkle on the end there. And then let's baste our other piece here. And then we'll go back and do our top stitches. Just trying to smooth this out. I really don't know what the deal is when that happens. Just try to sew through it. Okay, it is a basting stitch, so it can come out. Okay, and then we're gonna top stitch. So let me restart my machine. We'll run some top stitches across our finished edges. And the top stitch is got to be a 1/4 of an inch. So I'll put us about right there. A couple forward, a couple backwards. And then the top stitch, just do a straight stitch. Okay, let's see if I went down too far. Not down far enough. Go down a couple more stitches. Let's check. still can go a couple more stitches. That should definitely put us in the right. That's close enough, I think. Because if I go any further, it'll be too far. Let's check. We can go a little bit, maybe 2 more stitches. Yeah, that should put us pretty good. So that piece is top stitched. I will put that on the table, and then let's do our second piece. And then I think I'm going to wrap up the video and start another cut here. Because what we have left to do is we have, so after we do the top stitching, now we pin the cuff to the lower edge of the sleeve, and then we basically base the cuff to the sleeve, and then we apply the sleeve facing, which was that other part that I was talking about earlier. Yeah, we may go ahead and try to do that, or we may just cut it out to see how it goes. So let's get our top stitching done of our final piece here. We're gonna do it at a 4th. Couple forward, couple backwards. Okay, and let's pivot, see where we are. Go down a little bit. Couple backwards to finish off. Okay, that was pretty quick. So we'll go back over to the table and check out our stitching see how everything went. Then we'll trim off our pieces as well and clean everything up. All right, so here are our cuffs, and they're top stitched. Looks pretty good. It's a little off here. That's all right. It's kind of hard to see the lines since it's white. I bet if I would have gone with a black stitch, it would have probably looked a little bit. You'll be able to see the threads better. But in this case, I definitely don't want to highlight threads. It's not exactly straight enough. So we'll just leave it with the white threads. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and clip off those basting stitches because I can always pop them off. If they're visible, I can get those. I can use my thread cutter and pick those out. Okay, so there's one cuff, and let's get the other one cleaned up here. And I think I will, when I get finished with everything, I will run the dress through the wash so I can try to get all of our carving markings off of them. Hopefully they'll wash out. If they don't, then I think we'll just I'm still gonna wear the dress, and hopefully they won't be too noticeable. And I maybe need to find a better marking method. Might need to start going back to the tailor's tacking. All right, and then so it says we'll go ahead and pin the cuff to the lower edge of the sleeve, and just to see how that looks. Or, you know what, I think I'll start with a new video on that one. I will cut this one because I have to pin this to the sleeve and then also work on the sleeve facing, so that can just be a separate video. So we'll go ahead and cut here. So thank you for watching this segment. We're almost at the finish line. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how I can improve the video with our next remaining videos. So thanks for watching.